What if I told you that angels, as described in the Bible, aren't the serene, gentle beings you've always imagined? That's right. The real deal about biblical angels is miles away from the soft, glowing figures with harps and halos we've been led to believe in. This revelation might shake the very foundation of how you see these celestial messengers. Now let's really dig into this whole idea of what angels are supposed to look like, according to, well, just about every movie, painting, and storybook from the last few centuries. You've seen them, right? Those breathtaking figures with flawless wings, practically glowing with goodness. They're in our Christmas decorations, they're in classic paintings hanging in museums, and they're all over social media every time someone wants to talk about being blessed or watched over. But where did this image come from? If you do a bit of digging, you'll find that these depictions have roots that go way back, but they don't exactly line up with the original texts. See, the artists of the Renaissance had a huge hand in shaping our modern image of angels. They took some liberties, to say the least. They painted angels with these magnificent wings, draped in robes that look like they've been picked right out of a heavenly wardrobe, and faces that are the picture of divine serenity. They were trying to capture pure beauty and goodness in a form we could recognize and feel comforted by. And then, there's the whole thing with cherubs, you know, those cute little baby angels with chubby cheeks and tiny bows and arrows. They're a hit every Valentine's Day. But guess what? The original cherubim weren't anything like that. The transformation of cherubim into what's essentially a Hallmark card staple is a wild ride through cultural adaptation and artistic interpretation. This makeover didn't just happen overnight. It's the result of centuries of artists and storytellers reshaping and tweaking the image of angels to fit the tastes and sensibilities of their times. And it's not hard to see why. The idea of a being that's both a messenger from the divine and also embodies the peak of beauty and goodness, that's powerful. It speaks to a deep desire for connection with something greater than ourselves, a connection to the divine creator from us, his created beings. But what's interesting though is that while these images are comforting, they're a far cry from the angels described in the Bible. In those ancient texts, angels are often more awe-inspiring than comforting, more likely to strike fear or wonder in the hearts of those who encounter them than to offer a gentle smile. They're messengers, yes, but they're also warriors, protectors, and beings of unfathomable power and presence. The cultural depiction of angels as these serene, human-like figures with wings has become so ingrained in our collective psyche that it's almost hard to shake. But when you start to peel back the layers, to go beyond the paintings and the pop culture references, you uncover a fascinating discrepancy between what we've been led to believe and what's actually written in the scriptures. This isn't to say that the modern interpretations don't have their place. They do. They offer comfort, inspire art, and serve as symbols of hope and protection. But they're just one side of the coin. On the flip side, there's a whole other dimension to these celestial beings that's raw, mysterious, and, yes, sometimes downright scary. So, what does the Bible actually say about angels? First off, the word angel itself comes from the Greek word angelos and the Hebrew malach, meaning messenger. These beings were God's messengers. But the job description didn't always come with wings and a halo. In the earliest scriptures, angels were more like undercover agents. No flashy signs, just blending in with the crowd. Now, as the biblical narrative progresses, things start getting spicy. We're introduced to specific angels by name: Gabriel, Michael, and Raphael in the apocryphal text, the Book of Tobit. And with these introductions, the descriptions start to evolve. They're not just any messengers. They're top-tier divine beings with roles that go way beyond delivering messages. They're warriors, guardians, and executors of God's will. But here's where things take a turn for the what on earth territory. When you hit books like Ezekiel and Revelation, angels aren't just beings with a human likeness anymore. They're creatures of awe, designed to make you stop and rethink your entire existence. What's fascinating here is the contrast. In the early days, angels could pass for your next-door neighbor. Fast forward a bit, and they're these magnificent, terrifying creatures that defy human comprehension. It's a testament to the rich tapestry of imagery and symbolism that the Bible employs to convey the divine. Biblical scholars and theologians have pored over these descriptions for centuries. trying to unpack the layers of meaning and symbolism. Some see these beings as metaphors for divine attributes, like God's holiness or majesty. Others take a more literal interpretation, viewing them as actual entities in the celestial realm, with roles and appearances as varied and complex as the universe itself. So how do these angels actually look like? First, let's look at the hierarchy of angels. At the top of this hierarchy, we've got the big names, archangels. These are the heavy hitters, the ones who get name-dropped in the Bible. Michael, who's basically the commander-in-chief of God's army, duking it out with the bad guys. Gabriel, the divine messenger who's tasked with delivering some of the most crucial news, like informing Mary she's going to be the mother of Jesus. And Raphael, mentioned in the book of Tobit, known for healing and guidance. These archangels aren't just messengers. They're protectors, warriors, and guides. They hold a special status and are often depicted as being closer to God, carrying out the most important tasks. Moving down the ranks, we encounter the cherubim and seraphim, and boy, are they something else. Cherubim, contrary to the baby-faced images popular in art, are actually described as having multiple faces and wings, and they guard the way to the Garden of Eden with flaming swords. They're not just about cuddles, they're about protection and the manifestation of God's glory. In artistic renditions inspired by biblical descriptions, cherubim are depicted as formidable beings, far from the chubby toddlers with wings. Seraphim, on the other hand, are the ones Isaiah talks about. With 6 wings each, they're literally on fire with love and devotion for God, constantly singing praises. The seraphim are often seen as representing purity, cleansing, and the intensity of divine love. Their appearance, with 2 wings covering their faces, 2 covering their feet, and 2 with which they fly, suggests humility and reverence in the presence of God. Then, there's a category that really throws everyone for a loop, the Ophanim, or wheels. Described in the book of Ezekiel, these beings are, well, wheels covered in eyes. They're associated with the cherubim and are thought to carry God's throne. Their appearance is utterly unique and symbolizes God's omnipresence and omniscience. The imagery is so out there that it's sparked endless interpretations, from literal celestial beings to metaphors for divine watchfulness and movement. But the hierarchy doesn't stop there. There are also principalities, powers, virtues, dominions, thrones, and more, each group with its own roles and functions. Principalities are thought to oversee nations and groups of people. Powers are defenders against evil, defending the cosmos and humanity. Virtues are considered the spirits of motion and control the elements. Dominions regulate the duties of lower angels. It's like a divine bureaucracy, but instead of paperwork and office politics, they're managing the cosmos and human souls. What's really interesting is how this celestial hierarchy reflects the complexity and order of the universe, as envisioned by biblical writers and later theologians. Each type of angel has a specific role that contributes to the overall harmony of the cosmos and fulfills God's will. Whether it's delivering messages, protecting the realms of heaven and earth, or singing praises around God's throne, each group has a purpose that's integral to the divine plan. In terms of authority, archangels are often seen as the top dogs, directly serving God's commands. Below them, each tier of angels has specific duties that align with their nature and purpose. The hierarchy is less about power in a worldly sense, and more about closeness to God and the role in the divine plan. As I touched on previously, cherubim are not the chubby, rosy-cheeked babies with tiny wings. They've got not 1, not 2, but 4 faces, one of a human, one of a lion, one of an ox, and one of an eagle. That's right, 4 faces on one being. And if that's not enough to make you pause, they also have multiple wings, covered with eyes all around. Eyes on their wings. Now, why the multiple faces? Scholars and theologians have pored over this, and the consensus seems to be that each face represents different aspects of creation: humans, wild animals, domestic animals, and birds. They're the ultimate symbol of God's creation, embodying the full spectrum of life on earth. This imagery paints them not just as guardians, but as beings that represent the omnipresence and omniscience of God, watching over all creation. And those wings, covered in eyes, suggest vigilance and awareness. This concept of eternal vigilance ties back to their role as guardians. In the Garden of Eden, cherubim were placed to guard the way to the tree of life, a task that underscores their significance in the cosmic order. The cherubim, with their formidable appearance, serve as a vivid reminder of the power, mystery, and the greatness of God that defies understanding. The Seraphim and the Ophanim, just like the cherubim, are terrifying when you actually think about them. Imagine encountering a being that defies all known laws of nature and biology. Isaiah 6 verses 2-5 shows this clearly regarding the Seraphim. With 6 wings each, they're literally on fire with love and devotion for God, constantly singing praises. The whole scene is so otherworldly and filled with majesty that Isaiah is basically struck with a profound sense of his own unworthiness. It's intense. You see, wrapping our heads around the true nature of cherubim, seraphim, and Ophanim isn't just an exercise in biblical trivia or a deep dive into ancient texts. No, it's way more profound than that. It's about grappling with the sheer scale and power of the divine, something so vast and complex that it throws our everyday understanding of the world into a tailspin. The descriptions of these beings, cherubim with their 4 faces and eyes all over, seraphim burning with an unquenchable fire and singing praises, Ophanim as wheels within wheels, full of eyes and moving with the spirit. These aren't just random details. They paint a picture of a God whose creativity, power, and presence are beyond anything we can fully grasp. What's truly mind-blowing about diving into these descriptions is the realization that if these are just the messengers and attendants of the divine, can you even begin to fathom the power and majesty of God himself? These beings, as awe-inspiring and otherworldly as they are, serve a God who is infinitely more so. It's like trying to understand the ocean by studying a single drop of water. What do you think? Be sure to let us know your thoughts in the comments, and as always, please like, subscribe, and hit the notification icon for more content just like this. Until next time.